All right, we head back out to Houston where our Josina Anderson is standing by. Our senior NFL insider took this one in from start to finish and then some, Joe. Give us a sense of the emotion surrounding this game. So much to take in both on field, before the game, and after. What were some of your biggest notes?
Well, that was the whole thing with this game, just wondering what was going to happen with Deshaun in his big debut back to a regular season game for the first time in 700 days. And I would say off jump, the first thing that stood out to me was just the amount of time it took for fans to just trickle in, noticeably empty from the beginning. And then at around 10:15 local, they announced that the fans were allowed to come in, and they slowly began to, trickle in. But nothing really stood out, as a lot of the reporters were kind of looking for the ambiance of what it would be. At times it seemed like the anxiousness kind of was more at field level with the media relative to trying to capture the moment. And then just behind me over the left shoulder here is where the Browns come out on the field, and all of us gathered over there to catch his official run out on the field. And there were a lot of people anxiously waiting to capture that on their cell phones. And you saw Deshaun Watson come out and, kind of lift his arms up and kind of embrace the moment. But what also stood out about that is he made a point to make sure that he shook the hand of Houston Texans owner Cal McNair. We also watched what appeared to be Hannah McNair turning her back at that time. So that's when you kind of started to notice what the reaction would be to a certain extent. There were a few signs, trickling around the stadium. One woman had up something that said she would rather be 1-9-1 than have Watson at quarterback. So there weren't many of that. There were a few that just kind of trickled around. And obviously during the game, you did note that fans were booing every time he took a snap. And there were also a mixture of people who were cheering because there were a number of Browns fans in orange and brown jerseys in the arena as well. But as Deshaun Watson talked about it after the game, he basically said that that's what he expected. He obviously knows that he had some rust. A number of the passes that he had today were going into the ground, and also expressed gratitude and thanks that the defense and the special teams were also helpful in helping to, get some sort of points on the board so that they were able to walk away with the W. Because to be quite frank, it was a struggle today for the offense, but they do come away with the victory.
Yeah, plenty to unpack in the before and after here in this day for Watson and all of those in Houston. But the during, 12 of 22 for $131, no touchdowns and an interception. Hadn't played football in 700 days, and it surely looked like that was the fact. He was given the largest guaranteed contract in NFL history to win football games and to get this offense producing. You obviously can't expect that to happen right out of the gates, but what did you make of Deshaun's performance here between the whistles?
Well, I think it was to be expected. I mean, at least from my perspective, I think relative to some of the things that were said from Brown sources and just people in his camp, as far as what they were anticipating today. I think a lot of that has to do with what we all know of Deshaun as a, player who obviously was here in Houston for 4 years and what we've seen of him in the past. But when I think back to looking at the Browns, practice clips from this week, I felt like I did notice that, some of the balls were off target and the guys were getting used to the pace of the ball, the cadence of how he calls things at practice. So for me, it was not a surprise. Maybe, for some of the people around him today. But ultimately, it's just one game. Part of the reason why I think that the Browns chose to not only take their time in allowing him to have his press conference this week, it was supposed to be Wednesday and ended up being Thursday, and why Deshaun took the podium saying that he wanted to, focus on football first, and that was the theme coming from the Browns organization, really, is because they, as an organization, are trying to have this be the first of the rest of the Deshaun era and trying to start over. But as we can see from the reaction on social media and from some of the fans in the stands today, it will take some time to get to that point. Obviously, Tony Busby echoed that before the game as far as wanting for some people to make sure that the people who were affected, at least from a plaintiff standpoint, were also not to be forgotten. But, we move on, they get the W, and we will see how they handle it from here. As of right now, tough sledding in the AFC North as, the Steelers and the Ravens were able to win in the earlier part of the games today. But, the Browns will try to truck on, and so will Deshaun Watson.
That's our Josina Anderson, always taking us inside the biggest moments the game has to offer. Thank you, Joe. All right, here's a look at Watson's day, his first game in 700 days. His passer rating, worst in his career. Passing yards, third worst at 131. Completion percentage, 55%, the fifth worst such performance in Watson's career as he looks to get on the same page with his new cast of characters in Cleveland.
Overall, just operational. That's the biggest thing. Is just getting in and out the huddles, calling plays. Didn't have too many miscommunications with Kevin. I've heard something walking off the field, and I guess it was 700 plus days since I played. So, yeah, it's not gonna be perfect, especially playing in December football where guys are week 14, week 13, and this is week 1 for me. So it was fun though. It was awesome to be able to get out there with my teammates. The defense played a heck of a game, got some touchdowns for us. Special teams with DPJ, the big punt return was big for us to kind of shift the momentum, and that's what we needed at the time. And that's why it's a team sport, and we just got to keep pushing forward.
Jay? So what did you make of the constant booing before it was now?
I mean, they're supposed to boo. I'm a Cleveland Brown now, and we on the road, so they're supposed to boo.
Bailey?
Deshaun, what was just the overall emotion, especially pre-game, a lot of fans, booing, it seems like the emotion of everything was a build-up just for your return, and I know you mentioned you were just excited to come out there.
Yeah, it's been a long road, honestly. It's just kind of from being traded, like I mentioned before, Houston is still part of me. It's part of my legacy. I got drafted here. We went through a lot of ups and downs with this organization, and being traded was tough, but it was a business decision and it had to happen. So leading to that, and then being my first game back here in Houston was tough. Walking into the stadium, on the opposite side of the stadium and locker room, it was different because I know exactly how those guys, get ready for games and how they do the pregame, the talk, and everything. So it was a lot of emotion, a lot of just kind of, just trying to keep everything in, knowing a lot of guys that's on that defense and on that offense. So, it was tough, but at the same time, it was very exciting to be able to just get my feet wet and just be able to just run around and take some hits and, just see everything kind of happen full speed.
Tony?
Did you ever feel in rhythm, like when you're at your best? Did you feel you?
As far as today?
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, they did a good job of trying to keep me off rhythm, keep me in the pocket, a lot of games up front, a lot of, switching up different coverages. It was a little bit different than what they showed on film as a consistent basis. So Levy did a good job, and talking with some players after the game, that's what they wanted to do, just try to mix it up a little bit and see, what I can handle, see what they can do. So that's what I wanted to do, is just try to figure out what they're doing each and every snap.
Blue Blazer?
Deshaun, there are people in the stands wearing your jerseys, number 4 jerseys from Texans, number 4 jerseys from Browns. You're also hitting booed almost every time you touch the ball. Do you think this is just how it's going to be moving forward, or as things continue to evolve as you come back? I mean, how do you perceive this will be with the reaction, the reception you continue to get?
I'm not sure what it's going to be, and that's not even my main focus. My main focus is really just doing my job and executing and just trying to play each and every snap. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of people that were showing support, but I didn't really focus on the negative things. I was focusing on try to execute as much as I can.
Right here.
Sean, you mentioned they're supposed to boo their opponent, but I can't imagine you've ever been booed every time you've taken a snap for an entire half of football. So what did that feel like?
I definitely have. South Carolina in college. A couple games here in Houston when we went on the road to Tennessee and Indy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. I can't control what the fans do and what they're, how they approach whenever I step on the field. My job is to go out there and execute and do my best as I can for the team.
You got to think it's not about rivalry this time.
I mean, like I said, I can't control that.
Mike?
How did you remain even or guard against frustration
situation when, you know, maybe your valves are hitting the ground and you're not hitting your targets and finding that rhythm that you work to?
That's why I have teammates. My offensive line was picking me up, the running backs, the receivers. Jacoby was a big help on the sideline, talking to me. You know, he said that's part of the game. That's knocking the rust off. He said he felt the same way, you know, week one. You know, trying to get into the rhythm, new offense, new system, new guys. So, you know, like I said before, just trying to just continue to improve each and every day. That's my goal, and just try to get at that rhythm as much as possible. We got a big one next week, and you know, I'm just happy to be 1-0.
Jenny?
You said this week that you would only answer football questions. But today's game was significant because you are returning from suspension. Are you able to say today that you are remorseful for the conduct that got you suspended?
Like I said before, that's you know, something that, you know, legal and clinical we've answered before, and they don't want me to address anything like that. Of course, you know, it was a tough situation. The suspension was tough, but at the same time, you know, my main focus is we're just trying to be 1-0 as a football player today.
Mary Kay?
Separate from legal and clinical is you know, just, you know, that's not necessarily tied to anything legal or clinical. It's, you know, so, you know, as you return today, did you feel remorse for the actions that got you suspended?
Like I said, I was just excited to be back on the field today. I did everything that I was asked and was required to do. I did all that, and you know, I was able to play and be on the field today.
Mary Kay?
Because of the build-up of this game and possibly the stress of coming back and being here and, you know, with accusers and all those kinds of things happening today, do you feel that having gotten this one out of the way, did you knock off enough rust that you feel next week against the Bengals would be significantly better than what people saw out there today?
Of course, that's the rule of the game, is just try to improve each and every week. Next week, I definitely need to be better. I will be better. The team will be better. And the goal is to be 1-0. I'm not sure how the outcome of the game is going to be, or what is going to take place, or what the defense is going to do, or, you know, different situations of the game. I can't really control that until that play happens. But you know, that's the ultimate of the goal. We get on, celebrate, get on the plane, get back to Cleveland, and once we get back, we have to turn the page and watch the film, fix the mistakes, and then just get ready for Cincinnati.
Tony?
Deshaun, on Thursday you said you didn't know how rusty you would be until you got to this game. So now that it's over, were you surprised you were that rusty, or did you really deep down expect it?
I just say I felt every single one of those 700 days, honestly. I said however long I've been out, I felt every single one of those days. So getting back in shape and everything was definitely needed to feel that today.
One more. Armando?
Coach said that you felt jittery. Were you jittery, and if so, what were you jittery about?
I wouldn't say I was jittery. It was just most of just getting out there and just being able to play. Just, you know, live bullets are coming at you. You know, for the past however long, you know, since I've been back on a practice field, you know, guys are coming towards me, but they're not allowed to hit me. You know, this is the first time in live action, other than the preseason game, which was 8 plays, I think, where, you know, guys was coming at me full speed and try to, you know, get the ball from me. So, you know, like I said, it's just knocking out just the rust and getting the timing down with the receivers and the offense, and knowing who, you know, is blocking for me up front and how they block and where they're going to set in different situations. So